This is the particular machine we use to grind this particular feather meal and other ingredients anyway. This is called pulverizer. You can see it is a pulverizer. It is used in reducing the feed ingredients into smaller particles in order to be digestible and easily convertible by the poultry and livestock animals. So for you to make a very good feather meal, this is the machine you use. We call it pulverizer or crusher. This particular machine will crush it into smaller units. Then if you don't have this machine, that is where this content becomes very necessary for you to watch in the end. You are going to see how you can now produce this same quality using manual method. What it means is that what this machine will do in 5 seconds, you can do it in 5 hours. That's what it means, because the capacity of this machine here you are seeing is 5 tons per hour. That's what it produces. But it produces about 5,000 kg of feed raw materials in 1 hour because of the speed of the electric motor. So if you are a small scale farmer, what you need to do is to use manual method and produce the little quantity of feather meal that you use to produce your feed at affordable rate. That's the essence of this. Now let's go to the next machine. That is the extruder. The one that will heat up these raw materials, the one that will heat up the raw materials and cook them in order to bring it out in a more digestible format for your poultry and livestock animals. Let's go to the extruder. This is the extruder. You can see here, what I have here, this is the extruder. You can see this particular machine. This is the extruder. The work of the extruder is to cook the feather into usable format for your poultry beds. This machine have different departments. It has the heating section and it has also the pelleting and extruding section. All these sections work in one with this particular machine. This is the extruder, and the work is to extrude that particular, cook it and extrude it. Once it is properly cooked, the carotene and other anti-nutritional factors or content of this particular feather meal is becoming digestible by the poultry and livestock animals. Now let's go to the mixer, the machine that will mix it before bringing it to this particular one. Another machine here called the mixer. This is the mixer. You can see this is the mixer. The work of this machine is to mix all the raw materials. That is when you want to produce a very good feed for your chicken and livestock. The work of this machine is to mix all the ingredients together. You can see it. This is the work of the machine. You pour all the ingredients here, you mix it and bring them out. They will now become one uniform feed. All the whole ingredients, measure all of them together, put them here, and to mix them within 5 minutes and give you your complete feed diet for your chicken. Let's go to poultry feather meal. When I talk about poultry feather, it involves all the poultry birds. We have turkey here, I have geese here, I have guinea fowl here, I have chicken like broilers, noilers, all the feathered animals, all the feathered birds. You can see them here. I have developed a content on this, but I discovered that many farmers don't have the machines like this particular one you are seeing that can be used to process this feather into a usable poultry feed ingredient. So if you are among the farmers that have been asking questions, or most of my fans that have been asking questions, how can we process these feathers into a usable poultry meal without the machine? Because I know that the problems we are facing here is the machine. There are many means of processing this feather into a usable poultry ingredient. Feather meal has a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, and other ingredients that is necessary to boost your poultry feed and reduce the cost of producing the feed. In this particular content, I target how to process poultry feather meal without machine, cut feed costs with feather protein. Poultry feather meal, as I earlier said, is an excellent way to reduce feed costs while providing high quality protein for your flock. This alternative feed source uses poultry feathers, a byproduct that is often discarded, but when processed correctly, it becomes a nutrient-rich feed additive. In this particular content, I will guide you and at the same time explore with you how to process poultry feathers into meal without the use of machines, highlighting its nutritional benefits and step-by-step instructions on do-it-yourself processing method. If you go to any slaughter or where they slaughter poultry birds, you will see a lot of bags of feathers that are thrown away. In fact, we are crying for the high cost of feed because we don't know the resources we have, the free resources we have that can be turned into poultry feed ingredients. Most of these things we overlook them and throw them away into the bush. Watch this video. You will see I'll keep a slight shot I got from a slaughterhouse. That is a market where they slaughter chickens. You see the lot of quantity of poultry feather that are being wasted.
What you are seeing here is a video clip I got from a slaughterhouse in one very small market near my farm. This is the quantity of poultry feather that are being wasted on daily basis, and this is ordinary day, not weekends or festive period, because they told me that festive period and ordinary weekends are massive in nature. In your own area, you also have these in large quantity and they're all wasted. Now go around any chicken slaughter in any market around your home and see the massive nature of the poultry feather that are being wasted. Considering the great percentage of the protein content of this feather meal and the free nature of this feather meal, you see that we are losing a lot by throwing this away into the bush. Let me allow you to have a background noise of this particular market and what is going on here for you to believe that I actually visited this market to ascertain the loss and the waste we have in the environment for not making use of this great protein source in our feed formulation. Now, listen on the background and see what is going on here.
Do you know that this poultry feather is the second of the most richest protein content for poultry and livestock feed raw materials? Now, let me give you the nutritional values of poultry feather meal for you to have an idea of what I'm saying. Poultry feather meal has high protein content. It contains up to 85 to 90% crude protein, making it an excellent protein source for poultry feed. The amino acid content of poultry feather meal, especially the cysteine and the methionine, which are vital for growth and feather development. It has nitrogen, Poultry feeders are a rich source of nitrogen which helps in muscle growth and development. It has keratin. Keratin provides structural proteins that support strong feathers, bones, and tissues in poultry and livestock animals. It has low fat. Though the fat is minimal, but it makes it a lean source for protein for the birds. Now, let me give you the percentage of all these nutrients that is available in poultry feeder in percentage. The crude protein is between 80 to 90%. You can see that it has an excellent crude protein value. It's difficult for you to see another feed raw material that has up to 90%, if not animal blood meal. Now, it has crude fiber less than 1% because it is minimal. It has crude fat between 2 to 5% depending on the way you process it. It has metabolizable energy 2,800 to 3,200 calories per kilogram. It has potassium, that is 0.1 to 0.2%. It has phosphorus 0.6 to 0.8%, and it has calcium 0.2 to 0.3%. It has vitamins and other minerals that are very important, like magnesium, iron, zinc, and copper. The high protein content of this particular meal and the moderate energy level make poultry feeder meal an excellent cost-effective protein supplement in poultry feed formulation. However, due to the amino acid profile, it should be balanced with other feed ingredients to ensure a complete diet for your poultry. You don't need to give this directly. It is an additive that you use to produce a very rich poultry feed and a quality poultry meal also. It has minerals, carbohydrates. Now, the main question that brought this particular content is how to process it without the machines. If you have watched the former content on how to use feeder meal to produce a very rich poultry feed, you see that all the content lies on using the extruder. To get this meal done. But in this particular content, I'm going to teach you how to manually do this without the machine, because I know that majority of the farmers can't afford these machines. So that's why I developed this particular content to carry everyone along. Now, these are the steps and the process of making poultry feeder meal without the machine. And at the same time, I'll also give you the video of how you are going to process it, so that if you get it right from this and the video, you are good to go. Now, the first step is, as I have already collected this, you can see this, you have already gathered it. The next thing is collect the large number. You don't buy it, they don't sell it. That's one of the good things about this particular things I'm teaching you. You just go to where they slaughter chickens, most especially during the festive period or weekends. You gather a lot of them. Now, after gathering the feathers from processing poultry houses, ensure they are clean, free of any contamination or dirt. Remove everything that is unwanted among them. Then, after that, the next thing you need to do is to wash them in a clean water with a big bowl. The quantity you need, wash all of them at the same time. Then, boil the feathers. Boil these feathers in water for up to 40 minutes. It depending on the means of boiling or the fire, but between 30 to 40 minutes is okay. This process softens the feathers and make them easier to break down. The boiling also helps remove pathogens and bacteria that may have got in contact with the feather, so that it will not affect the birds. After the boiling stage, the next thing you need to do is, after boiling, sun dry. Spray the feathers in a very neat sack. If you have, depending on the quantity anyway, if it is for commercial purpose, you can use an oven to do that. But for you as a small scale poultry farmer that need to use this to drop the feed cost, spray a very big mat and spray it on the sun for drying. Let the surface of the mat be cleansed. Allow them to dry thoroughly depending on weather condition. Drying may take 1 or 2 days depending on the weather of your area and that time, the season. After the drying, the next thing you need to do is place the feathers in a grinding machine. Now we are not talking about the pelletizing machine. That same grinding machine they use to grind pepper, corn, beans and others. If you have it, just use it to grind it. We are not talking about importing or buying heavy equipment like extruder or pelletizer. We are talking about this local grinding machine. If you don't have the local grinding machine, you can use this hand grinding. Depending on the quantity you have. Perhaps you have larger quantity. Use the grinding machine they use for pepper and corn and other ingredients in the market. They will grind it into powder unit for you after grinding into smaller particles. Alternatively, you can use mortar. If you have a very big mortar, pound it, because after sun drying it becomes soft. Pound it very well. After pounding, use filter and filter it. After that process, remember I've said two things now. Grinding with this local, which is available in every market. I assuming you don't have it in your home, or you can use a small hand grinding machine, or even blender. If you have blender in your house also, a blender can blend up to 1 kg. What it means is that you have to do it as many times as possible. Assuming you want to get up to 10 or 100 kg, that means you have to do it. There are some blenders that can grind up to 5 kg, depending on the size of the blender also. Blend it properly. After that, roasting is the next stage. Roasting is the next stage. Now, for better digestibility, you need to slightly roast the crushed feathers over a low flame, over a low heat, taking care not to burn them. This helps break down the keratin in that particular feather meal. It has anti-nutritional ingredient that's called keratin. That keratin is very difficult for that particular meal to be digestible by the animal you are feeding. So once you slightly pass it through that heat, as if you are frying gari or granite, it becomes easy digestible. Finally, dry. Allow the ground feathers to dry once again. If any moisture remains after grinding or roasting, sun dry it again to be cool and at the same time reduce the moisture content. Then sieve it finally. Sieve the meal to ensure it has a uniform consistency, removing any larger particle or unprocessed feather particles that may not be digestible by these animals. What is the percentage of inclusion in poultry feed? Feather meals can be included at 3 to 7% in poultry feed. It is typically used to partially replace soya bean, fish, or groundnut cake meal due to its high protein content. However, since it lacks some essential amino acid like lysine, it should be balanced with other protein sources to enable the feed to balance.
This is the washing stage, where you make sure that all the dirt and any unwanted materials are completely removed and the feathers properly washed to avoid any infestation either from bacteria or any other contaminant that may be attached to these particular feathers. After the washing stage, spray on a very clean mat to sun dry. This may take hours or days depending on the nature of your environment or the weather or even the season also, but make sure it is properly dried. After the drying, then put it inside a pot depending on the quantity you want to produce. Remember, this is manual method. cook these particular feathers for up to 30 minutes so that all the anti-nutritional factors will completely done and at the same time removed from the feathers. After cooking for up to 30 minutes, bring it down and spray it again to dry. Please, after cooking, bring it down and spray again on the sun to dry it. Thereafter, grind into powder and use to make your own poultry and livestock feed. You can still roast it or toast it as if you are frying garri or groundnut before grinding. This will make it easier for you. You can still use mortar to pound it any way you know. The major thing here is to make sure at the end you pound it into powder format or you grind it into powder format. That's the only way it can work. Then make use of a sieve or filter to bring it into the smaller particles you need for your poultry and livestock feed animals.
Now, you have seen how to do this. Let's go there. Poultry feathers is an affordable meal. They have high protein and good additives that can significantly reduce feed costs when processed properly. By following these simple steps I have given to you to boil, sun-dry, grind, roast, sieve, you can transform a common poultry byproduct into a valuable source for your birds. With the right balance, including 7%, maybe between 3 to 7%, feather meal is good for your poultry feed, and it can at the same time help you to optimize the nutrition and cut down the costs, the expensive costs of feed or other feed additives, while maintaining the health and growth of your flock as a poultry farmer, and at the same time maximizing your profit. Please, if this is the first time of coming across this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel for you to get more updates on this particular topic and other topics on poultry and livestock farming. And if this video have added value to you, give it a thumb up, share it, and if you have any further question, drop it on the comment section. I will gladly answer them for you to get clarified. Thank you once again till I come with another interesting topic loading very soon. Please don't go far. Bye for now.